Greetings, I'm Jen. This short, slow flow yoga practice is designed to actually help you wake up and start your day. So you can be waiting for me right now on the floor, on your yoga mat, literally right out of bed, if that is what you're craving to help yourself wake up and not only build some heat and alertness in the body through this short practice, but to actually really take care of the lower back, which sometimes can feel tight for us after sleep. Or this practice could be served if you've been sitting during your day, maybe you've been traveling or a long car ride. This is a really nice practice too to kind of bring your body back, particularly around the spine and lower back. So if you are waiting for me on your back, excellent. I will connect with you there. I am going to start a little music. So that is the invitation, is to come to be on your back if you're not already there. And I do have a couple of hardcover books off to the corner. Sorry for not mentioning that. So if you do have a couple of books, maybe you hit pause and have those nearby as well. And as we are here on our backs, taking some time to feel into our body. Maybe there's a little bit of movement in your body. Maybe it feels good to simply be paused here with the knees bent. You could certainly invite in a deeper stretch in your body right away. I'm going to simply kind of be here, maybe a little bit of a sway, and check in with my breathing. Using our breath to start to frame how we move, to start to frame what it feels like to bring this kind of alertness and waking up into the body. So maybe you see how it feels to take a little deeper breath in and perhaps give yourself an audible sigh to breathe out. See how that feels, deepening the breath, giving yourself some to almost breathe out, sigh out, kind of shed out anything that maybe feels stuck from sleep. Take a few more rounds of those more intentional, kind of deeper and focused inhales and exhales. And then start to return to a pace of breath that feels really natural in your body here. And as you do find that natural cadence of breath, I invite you to take those bent knees and start to sway them side to side. And while you do that, I'm going to give a little repositioning to my body to be a better visual support here. Taking those sways, letting your arms rest wherever feels best. Maybe they're next to your body. Maybe they're out more like a T. You could even cactus your arms if a little bit of stretch right away for chest and shoulders would feel good. But take a little time to move again with a cadence here that feels really good in your body. You might be feeling hips, knees, and we are bringing in this really gentle hello to the lower back. There's this slight rotation maybe in your spine, and allow yourself to be really fluid through your upper body. So my opposite shoulder is starting to lift as my legs surrender down. And if you'd like to add a little bit more movement to this, once your legs surrender down, I'm going to go to the right side first. You could actually lift up the left knee and maybe extend the left leg out. I'm going to use my right hand as a little guide and support here to take that extra stretch. And then I'm going to bend my left knee, take that sway over to the left side. Left leg lands. I'm rolling pretty far onto my left side and then taking an extend out of my right leg. And taking all of this approach again from this idea of warming, welcoming the body into some movement. So this isn't about creating these giant stretching moments, but we are noticing, right? What sensations can we feel in the body? And you could always pause somewhere as we find these dynamic movements with the idea of building heat and alertness in the body. You can always pause and hold. Take a few more rounds of breath to balance out your body with whatever movements you've found, and we'll meet back in a lying down, feet planted, knees bent pose with your feet more hip distance. We're going to mimic cows and cats here. You might not see a lot in my body, but see if you can lift up through your rib cage, almost arching your back at your lower back, and then press your spine fully into the mat and then give a little tuck of your tailbone. You might feel your low ribs draw down. Return the tailbone down. Use an inhale to curl up, arch up the spine. And then reversing that again, press your spine down fully and then give a little lift of your tailbone. So this movement is not meant to be giant, but it is meant to give a little bit of curiosity to our bodies, our spine, and a bit of core engagement too as you tuck that core. Give yourself another breath. to feel that motion. And then when you're ready, returning to what we call a neutral spine. So that nice kind of natural position at your lower back. Let's lift the legs up, give them a little hug, maybe a little rock here for a moment. That extra pressure on your lower back might feel good, almost like you're giving your back a massage. And then I'm going to pretend to take a walk on the ceiling. So my legs are going to start to lift, and I'm taking a flexed foot as though I've created this visual of walking across my ceiling. I have my hands on the backs of my legs simply as a support. I'm not pulling or tugging with the hands. I'm really checking in with how my hamstrings feel, how my knees feel. And we've got this really great opportunity to stretch the backs of the legs with our lower back fully supported. So maybe we do just that for a breath or two, keeping the legs up, feeling a little energy of your heels toward the ceiling. Press your hips down, your tailbone down, maybe a flex and point of the feet. And then how about a little kind of fluttery kick? Tick, 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 tick. I know, like a little vibration through the legs. Feel that kind of shake, feel some energy through your body. And then we'll hug the legs back in one more time, maybe a quick rock. And let's add just a little fire to the core to really build that heat and wake up. So I'm going to keep my legs lifted, knees above the hips. I'm going to bring my hands to my thighs, and we're about to push the legs away with our hands, but then push back into your hands so they don't move. You ready? Start that press. Press into your legs, but push right back. Can you feel your ribs draw in? Can you feel your mid-body really start to tense up in that best way? Your breath might get a little bit stuck. Keep pressing as hard as you want. Press, breathe, fight for those nice deep breaths. And then release, soften, hug, and rock. Let's create a little bit more drama with these rocking movements. Again, tailbone down, letting your low back get this little massage with the weight of our body. And then to whatever side feels more comfortable, roll all the way to that side. Use a little push of your arms to bring yourself upright. We're going to pass through upright, maybe to literally say good morning. And then let's make our way to tabletop position, facing whatever direction of your space makes sense. And again, I have my little hardcover books nearby. I'll show you where they may be useful shortly. Take a big spread of your fingers wide, knees underneath the hips. Let the tops of your feet feel soft and rested. Can you create a little space between your shoulders and your ears, and then take an in-breath to cow pose and an exhale to cat pose. Start to feel where your breath feels most supportive with these shapes. You might move every inhale and every exhale. You might be lingering. Can you think of cow pose as a lengthening of your front body? Cat pose as a lengthening of the back of your body, but both of them are again about lengthening, stretching. So cow, I like to think about lengthening my heart forward. Cat, I like to think about even drawing up through my low belly so I can create that stretch all the way in my lower back. Take a few more rounds of breath here. In your cows and cats, you could start to shift your body in other directions. So taking again that frame of curiosity, how does your body feel today? And this practice in particular, if you find this practice on repeat, cows and cats can be such a great sign of what your body needs out of these next few moments on your mat. Really breathing, swaying, and checking in. And then as you feel ready, we're going to pause and tabletop pose. I'm going to quick put my books out in front of my right hand ever so slightly. If you don't have any books, I gotcha. And then I'm going to widen my knees just a bit. My left hand is going to stay down under the shoulder. Right fingertips come behind the head to hover. Inhale, open to the right. Exhale, rotate right elbow toward left. I'm going to turn to face you. So finding a little bit more movement in the spine. I again like the wider position of the knees here. You can be rotating through the hips and the upper back. You can be rotating more just in your upper back and keeping the hips more stable. Maybe you start to add a little bit more movement. You could sweep the right arm up as you open, and then I'm going to sweep my right arm through, almost like I'm going to try to touch the back of my left shoulder blade to see if there's a little bit more range of motion to be had. Making sure your left elbow is soft, so we're not dumping into that left arm. How about a pause at the top? Opening up that right arm toward the ceiling, and we're going to play a little bit as I turn back the other way. Could you sweep your right arm toward your feet? Maybe your hips go back a little bit. You could curl the toes under or keep them flat, and then sweep that right arm around, level out your hips, and give a little touch to your books or to the just space in front of your hand. Let's do that again. I'm going to take a big breath in, open, maybe the hips draw back a little bit as we approach almost a child's pose, lower body. And then as you come around this time, let's pause. Keeping that right hand really reaching that slight height gives an opportunity for a deeper stretch. You could lower to your left forearm. You could soften your head toward the mat. Mine's not going to touch, but I'm trying to also soften my right armpit toward the mat. I know it's always nice to hear the word armpit in the middle of a practice, but it's really the truth of what we're softening down. Letting your hips try to be level here. Take a big breath and press through your right palm. Exhale, soften down. Let's bring ourselves back to tabletop pose. Give yourself a little shimmy and let's bring ourselves again back. So knees are right underneath the hips. Take an inhale to cow. Exhale, round to cat. Keep rounding your spine as you walk yourself back toward your knees and then roll up slowly. Feel that curvature of your spine as you stack shoulders, neck, and head. Take a breath in, reach up. As you exhale, bring the arms down. Again, in breath, reach. Exhale, getting a little bit more of that fire breath. Maybe you really start to exhale deeply and strongly, making a little bit of sound on that breath out. One more stretch up and reach. Exhale, hands come down, and we take a slight lowering to set our heel or our hips on our heels. You might bring your hands forward to limit the amount of weight that you have coming back, because this is a potential deep stretch here. Giving the knees a stretch, the feet a stretch, feeling how that is in your legs. Again, hands can stay forward to control how much pressure you're putting back. When you feel ready, we crawl our way back out to tabletop pose. If there's a little shimmy that would feel good, go ahead. I'm going to slide my books so they're out in front of my left hand. And then we'll repeat that sequence. I'm going to widen my knees just a little bit. Left fingertips come behind the head, and we'll open up to the left. Exhale, draw left elbow toward right. I'm not actually touching my head with my fingertips. I don't want to be kind of pulling or tugging on the neck. It's just that visual cue. Again, how much rotation is feeling good here? Are you moving through the hips and the shoulders or just the upper back? And you could start to exaggerate this a little more with the left arm reaching and then a sweep under. How's your breath doing? Can you come back to that connection? Can you start to take maybe deeper inhales and deeper exhales? Find a way to support your movement here. And then we'll pause at the top with the left arm lifted. And then we'll start to sit back as you draw your left arm back toward your feet. Let your hips draw back. And we'll sweep around, level out the hips, stretch your left arm forward. Maybe they come to those books for a moment. And we'll do that one more time. Sweep the left arm up and around, back toward your feet. Your hips might go back a little bit. Rotate through your upper body. Come back around. Level your hips, level your chest. Let's keep the left hand forward and see how it feels to stretch down. Again, if you don't have books, we're just pushing that left arm forward. You might be coming down to the right forearm. Make adjustments in your hips for this stretch and feel that softening of your left armpit toward the mat as you press into your palm. Take another inhale to press into the palm of your hand. Exhale, soften your arm down. Use your next inhale to come back to tabletop pose. Take a moment to bring the knees back to that true tabletop. I'm going to move my books out of the way. Inhale to cow. Exhale, round to cat. Walk back toward your knees. Roll yourself up slowly. Take that slow rise, lift and reach. Taking an inhale at the top. Exhale, let it go. Maybe you add movement of the legs. So remember we came down to sit last time. So you could add that lift and that lowering if that feels good for your legs. And if not, no worries, right? This is your body, your practice on this day. Some days things might feel different. So honor where you are now. And on your next inhale, hold up, stay up for a breath or two. Let's cactus the arms. Could you squeeze your legs, squeeze your glutes, squeeze your legs so your lower half is so strong that you create the sensation of a back bend where you might feel your heart lift, your chin lifts slightly, your elbows drop back and down. Check in if it's really hard to breathe deeply. That means your body is probably asking you to soften a little bit. Full breath in, full breath out. Inhale, reach up, rise. Exhale, hinge out toward tabletop pose. If you're okay going to the belly for a few breaths, walk your hands out forward a bit or two. Shift your hips down so they're level with your shoulders and knees. So I'm in a low plank. My hips are not dropping. My bum is not in the air. I'm in this straight line. If you're staying in tabletop, stay there. I'll meet you with some instructions in a moment. If you're headed to the belly, hug the elbows in and lower down as slowly as you can. A little fire through the arms. And then from the belly, if you're there, let's find a baby cobra back bend. Inhale to lift. Maybe you lower on an exhale, or maybe you want to hold. If you're holding, can you press the tops of the feet into the mat? Let the kneecaps hover. If you're in tabletop, continuing with cows and cats, you could even lower to the forearms to get a slightly different experience and to give the wrists a break. Take a few more rounds of your back bend, your warming shapes, and we're going to wake up through the shoulders. If you're on the belly and you're okay staying there, take your hands really wide, tent your fingertips, spontaneous cobra. Inhale, lift your heart. Exhale, drop a shoulder. Look over to the opposite side. Inhale, lift straight up. Exhale, drop a shoulder. I'll face you. You can do this from tabletop pose. So these spontaneous shoulder dips. If you were on the belly for cobra, you still might want to come to tabletop for these shoulder dips. So again, you choose. Maybe one day it's one variation, one day it's another. Take a few more rounds to feel. Maybe there's a place where you pause, where your shoulders or your neck feel just a nice sensation you want to breathe into. And then as you feel ready, coming back either to tabletop, or if you've been on the belly, let's bring the hands really close to the chest. Tuck your elbows in, push back up through the knees like your belly's going to lift toward the ceiling. Tabletop pose. And then let's find a child's pose for a few moments. Let your hips draw back. You can widen your knees. You can rest the tops of the feet down wherever that stretch feels okay. If you want to keep this a little bit dynamic, maybe you shift your hips just a little bit side to side. Maybe you pause in the hips and you shift the weight of your upper body more onto one arm and then another. Just seeing how those subtleties give you a little extra stretch, sensation. Find your breath. Take another moment or two. And then when you feel ready, take an in-breath to bring you back to tabletop pose. We're going to prepare to rise, literally rising for our day. Before we do that, either from tabletop pose, or I'll give you another choice in a moment, take the toes back long on one leg, maybe move a little bit front to back, and then take some time to switch legs. So I'm just rooting those toes down, getting a little rhythm and work across the feet, the lower parts of the legs. And you can keep going here from tabletop, alternating. Or maybe you feel okay curling your toes, pressing your chest toward your thighs and coming to a downward facing dog, where then you could pedal the heels. If you're coming into downward facing dog, bend the knees generously, get that nice tilt at the hips, and continue to take your walk of your heels. So again, from tabletop or from down dog. Take a few more breaths. Maybe if you're in downward facing dog, you pause and just hold there for a few breaths. We're all going to meet in just that quick transition so we can head to stand. So if you've not been in down dog, curl your toes under, hover your knees, and start to walk to the top of your space. Bend your knees as much as you like to help your back. Press feet into the top of your mat or top of your space. Halfway lift spine. Can you feel a stretch in your entire back body here? So I'm lifting my chin slightly. I'm pressing my hands into my shins or my thighs. Feel your spine lengthen. Feel your shoulder blades squeeze behind you. And maybe you extend and bend the legs just a little bit to feel some of that sensation we had. Remember when we were on our backs with our legs up? Keep that nice strong position of your back. If this feels good to stay, please do. If you'd like to take a few breaths in a ragdoll, go ahead and surrender down more deeply. Let your head hang. You could widen your feet. You could put your books underneath your hands. That's a nice way to have a little bit of height to control what gravity is doing for the spine. If you are in this upside down, really let gravity do its work. Soften all the way from the hips. Let the crown of your head be heavy. Maybe there's a sway or two. If your head doesn't like this first thing in the morning, keep your head lifted. Sometimes it's not the back that doesn't want to be upside down, it's the head. And then from here, let's all lift the heart if it's not. Bend the legs a lot. Can you get a little bounce in the body so we can rise up, drive up, stretch up, Exhale, hands come down. From feet hip distance, I'm gonna face you. Take a reach up stretch. Maybe you grab for the fingers or you keep the hands side by side, and we'll tick-tock our body side to side for a few moments. Same, you could hold or you could keep moving. Keep pressing your opposite foot down. So we've got this opportunity to stretch the side bending. Again, so good for the spine and the back. And then pausing for a stretch up and reach. As you exhale, hands come down. Step your right foot behind your left, and let's actually bring our right arm up. Take one more opening of the side body. My left hand is on my hip. Use an exhale to bring everything back to center, and then left foot steps behind the right. Take a reach up of your left arm. Big breath in. Good. Let's go one more time each side. Left foot out, hand on hip. Reach up, rise up. Feel that length and lift of your body. Come back to center. And when you're ready, left foot behind right. Reach up, rise up. Good. Exhale, hands to center. A little sunflower flow to finish off our practice. Take a breath up and reach. Step your left foot out, throw it down. Come back to center. Right foot out, throw it down. Good. Back and forth a few more times. Get a little fire in the day. Shed out anything you want to let go of before this day starts or wherever you are in this practice. And after that, left side and right side, one more time. We will meet in the center. Take one more final stretch and reach. Exhale, hands to heart. Maybe a little smile on your face, a little beating of the heart. Thank you for making this time to wake up and prepare for where you are in your day. I hope to see you again for a future practice. Namaste.